Silo is shaping up to be one of my favorite shows of the year, and episode 3 is another banger that introduces new mysteries and clues about what the hell is going on. So we're going to take a deep dive into the episode, skip the recap, and get only into the nitty gritty. I've left timestamps below so you can see all the topics I'll be discussing, and don't worry, I have not read the books, so there will be no spoilers. But with that being said, I'll warn you near the end when we get to my trailer spoilers section, which looks at clues we can glean from the trailers on where the story might be headed. Now let's head on outside, because here we go. The big mystery this episode is who or what killed Mayor Ruth, and there are a lot of subtle clues throughout the episode that hint at what happened, from poison water to a mysterious nurse that I'll get into in a bit. But first, why would someone want the mayor dead? It seems as though she's the only one with the power to hire the new sheriff, otherwise the judicial would have just steamrolled their candidate into the position, a man by the name of Paul Billings. At almost every turn, Ruth is intimidated by members of the judicial, from their enforcers watching her from afar, Sims offering her a strawberry tart, and Bernard, who is clearly on the side of Judge Meadows. Although we never see her, the episode gives us two new pieces of info about who runs the judicial: a name, Judge Meadows, and a sex, female. Other than that, that's all we really know, but it can be assumed that Mayor Ruth and Judge Meadows have a tumultuous past. After all, Marnes notes that the mayor wanted Judge Meadows to know she wasn't coming to visit her. My guess, it's Judge Meadows responsible for the mayor's death. Now, I should mention that we never see Ruth die. It's possible that she could survive, but my guess is that she's a goner, considering the actress who plays her is only credited as being in 3 episodes. But these things have been wrong in the past. So how did she die? Theory 1 is poisoned water. Check out what Marnes says to Ruth early on in the episode.
Plus you dumped water to lighten your load. I think you got a leak.
It's such a strange line of dialogue to add in if the water had nothing to do with her death. It suggests that the mayor didn't pour herself enough water for the long journey to the generator, which I doubt, or that it was replaced by someone else. I believe someone poured out her water and replaced it with whatever substance ended up making her sick. To add more fuel to this theory is that near the end of the episode, Mayor Ruth asks for water yet again, so the creators have made a concerted effort to show her drinking from this multiple times. Now, Mayor Ruth's water bottle is actually in Marnes' backpack. I think they had their own water bottles in each other's backpacks to make them more accessible, or else it would suggest that A, someone was actually wanting to poison Marnes, or B, that Marnes did the poisoning, both of which I doubt. Now, theory 2 is a lot more far-fetched, but something about it rubs me the wrong way. Early on in the episode, Mayor Ruth and Marnes visit Dr. Nichols, the father of Juliet. In the room is a nurse who is dismissed so that the three can talk in private. But take a look at this shot here. The nurse is just standing there, almost eavesdropping. If this were a simple extra, there's no way the director would allow her to stand right in the middle of frame. Plus, we also get this shot and it looks as though she's eavesdropping once again. Then, if you check out the end credits, she has her own credit even though she doesn't have one word of dialogue or anything of significance. This is all highly fishy. So even if this mysterious nurse Alice didn't have anything to do with Mayor Ruth's death, she may just be a spy for the judicial. At the end of episode 2, we learn that Sheriff Becker wanted Juliet to take over as sheriff. It seems that historically the sheriff has named a successor, and this person becomes more or less the next sheriff. Part of his note mentioned that if Juliet didn't want the job, that he'd at least give her his badge, and that's what Mayor Ruth gives to her, albeit with a twist. In episode 2, Sheriff Becker promised Juliet that he would give her a signal when he finds out more about what happened to George. She never got that signed and watched as Becker went out into the poison and died, which is why she called him an effing liar and stormed out of the room. But now she has this sign, finding the word truth crudely engraved on the back of his badge. It's a signal that if she takes this job, she may be able to find that truth. I also found it very odd that the two T's and H are capitalized and the R and you are not. It's very strange and has my alarm bells ringing. Now, last episode I theorized that if Juliet becomes sheriff, she'll likely move into Becker's old apartment. At the beginning of episode 1, we see Sheriff Becker fiddling with his apartment's air vent and also a pot of flowers, even leaving a note that says double the flowers in front of the mirror. I think this note is for Juliet and that she may find something in this flower pot that will lead her to the vent where more information that Becker found was stored. And just a reminder, if you're liking these types of videos and want more, please like and subscribe, and be sure to check out my episodes 1 and 2 video. When the power is shut down, you may have noticed this odd screen glitch, and for a brief moment the outside world becomes that lush landscape Becker saw and was also seen in the Jane Carmody file. How on earth is it showing this beautiful scenery if the live feed is supposed to be of the outside world? At this point, we can't take whatever is on that screen at face value. I noticed there wasn't a huge gasp or big reaction to this glitch, and none of the silo dwellers talk about it. The camera does focus a lot of attention on this woman, who I believe is named Sandy. We saw her in the sheriff's office, and I think she might be some sort of administrative assistant there. If she has a larger role, expect her to team up with the new Sheriff Nichols, especially if she noticed this glitch. After Juliet makes her decision to become sheriff, she leaves Martha with whatever the heck this device is. My guess is that it's some sort of camera or projector, evidenced by the viewfinder we see in episode 2. Because this was one of George's relics, I wonder if he's left any recordings. With this now in Martha's possession, expect this relic to unlock more clues. The action this episode is centered around the generator. I enjoyed the use of a cast iron spinning top to explain how the generator is broken, no doubt a subtle nod to Inception. There are 2 interesting bits of information we learn about the generator. The first is that roughly 30 years ago it sustained damage that has caused it to need the repair required today. How did this damage happen? Was it an engineer's error, or was something more nefarious at play? For now, I'm keeping this info in the back of my mind. The second and far more mysterious of the 2 is the origin of the steam. All they know is that it comes from a pipe deep below. Now, steam doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It only appears when water transitions from its liquid to gaseous state, and this can only happen when water reaches its boiling point of 100 degrees Celsius. So either there's some sort of natural geothermal heating going on that is producing this steam, or there are other machines that the engineers aren't privy to. I also enjoyed how Bernard calls Juliet a thief because she stole some special heat tape, and I can't help but think this heat tape was likely used to patch up the generator. And boy oh boy do I love seeing our master of the friend zone, Jorah Mormont, playing Juliet's father, Dr. Nichols. There is definitely more going on to his relationship with his daughter than he's letting on. After all, what causes a girl to run away from home at the age of 13 to go become an engineer in the deep? All we really know is that her mother and brother died, and it's implied both were suicides. We'll even see these signs for the syndrome down in the control room, which seems to point out signs of someone who is experiencing depression, which may lead to suicidal thoughts. In episode 2, Juliet tells Sheriff Becker that she knows full well how to identify signs of the syndrome, and that George, who is alleged to have committed suicide, did not possess any of these signs. Part of Juliet's character arc this season is learning not to run away. She ran away at age 13 and often runs away from emotional situations with Martha Walker, who's kind of taken on this mother figure role for her. It's interesting then that they pair Juliet with Martha because she's the complete opposite. She hasn't left her workshop in 20 years. She's the furthest thing from a runner. Expect more to come regarding Juliet and her relationship with Martha and her father. We get this brief intimidating strawberry tart scene with Sims, but the scene I thought was most interesting with him was the introduction of his son. None of this propelled the plot forward at all, but it's clear they're setting up Sims for a lot more. In fact, I think it's a way to humanize him and not have us think that he's just this soulless enforcer. Here's your warning for trailer clues. These are not book spoilers since I haven't read the books, just some clues we might get from the season's trailers that dropped a few weeks ago, so turn away if you don't want to watch. Check out what appears to be a funeral here with Bernard presiding. He's wearing a necklace that looks identical to that of the mayor's on Freedom Day. does Bernard become the next mayor? There are also 2 corpses here. With Ruth potentially dead, could this be her and Marnes? Notice how Marnes and Mayor Ruth, at least in this shot, are not in attendance. However, we can catch a glimpse of now Sheriff Nichols. In the season trailer, we'll also see Bernard performing that mayoral speech when someone is sent outside, so it also seems like another person is going out. Check out this sort of glowing fob that has the number 18 on it, the same number found that was imprinted on the hard drive George found. Here's someone falling from the silo. My guess is that this is George, and we'll get to see the murder from his perspective. Here's Sims with his son and what might be his wife. Looks like Sheriff Nichols is wasting no time investigating the truth. She has some sort of chart, and it looks as though she's trying to match the stars along the horizon. Judging by the tattoos on her hands, it looks like Juliet found that hard drive. Maybe it's in this bag she pulls out, which looks an awful lot like the vent Becker was fidgeting with in episode 1. Juliet reunites with her father, and another shot of her dangling over the edge of the silo, but we can't make out who's on this other side. This is quite the brazen attack since it's in broad daylight with other people watching. Now I want to turn it over to you and hear what your thoughts and theories are in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe, and for more bad takes you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember,
more questions than answers.